Hey Stonebridge family, my name is Harrison and I am one of your international partners, and today I have the privilege of being able to dive into Psalm 103 with you as part of the Lent reading. So this is a Psalm of David, and there's a couple different commentaries and beliefs on like when he wrote this. Charles Spurgeon talks about how he believes that this was written towards the end of David's life, having gone through so many highs and lows and experiences with the Lord, that if it was written towards the end of his life, it would make sense that he has kind of write this from a place of deep knowledge of how good God truly is. So I just thought that was interesting as he writes this. There's so many different attributes he's used that is very powerful. So the first line is "Bless the Lord, O my soul," and that continues kind of to be the heartbeat of this psalm as it goes on. And today the verse we're going to focus on is verse 4, "Who redeems your life from the pit." So to put those together, it's "Bless the Lord, O my soul, who redeems your life from the pit." So this idea of redemption is very powerful. God hasn't just changed our trajectory to avoid the pit. He has redeemed us. We were headed towards death, towards this pit of destruction. David talks about like he had witnessed it and he knew he's where he belonged, but God has redeemed him. God redeems us and puts us on a new path, a new trajectory that we can walk into. One of the beautiful things in this psalm, I believe, in the verses before, it talks about forgives and heals, and here it's redeems. And again, in another commentary, it's mentioned that those three attributes David wears them as almost like a crown jewel. It's as if they were like precious stones that he's displayed on a necklace or out front, where some of the most meaningful and powerful attributes of God are just declared firsthand in this psalm, that he forgives, he heals, and he redeems. And how beautiful is that? So going back even deeper into this idea of redemption, as I was thinking about it, what does that mean for us? How do we walk that out? How do we step into this idea of, okay, we've been redeemed. How does our path and how does our walk look different now? And so a few weeks ago, David talked about a book he asked everyone to read. It was called God's Smuggler, written by Brother Andrew, and it's the story of his life. And I just finished reading it a week or so ago. It was very powerful, and I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. But one of the parts that stuck out to me and that I'm just reminded of as I contemplate this idea of being redeemed is, Brother Andrew had a crazy past as well. And in his process of salvation, of being redeemed, he lays it all on the table and like, God, whatever you want, I'm here. And he goes on to be a missionary behind the Iron Curtain, and that's what the book is about. But at this point in his life that I'm referring to, it's at the very beginning. He's a new Christian, and he's saying, God, I've told you I wanted to do this. And he's kind of processing that in prayer, and what he realizes that he feels the Lord's calling him. He feels the Lord's asking him to respond in a certain way, but every time he says yes, he has a but behind it. So it's a yes, but. So an example of this would be a yes, but I'm too young, or yes, but I'm not married, or yes, but I don't have the money to do something like that. And those would be examples of that yes, but that we might hold on to. And so those are some of the specific examples he lists. But in his prayer, and at this specific point, he's just praying. He says, I felt like I've always had this idea of yes, but no more. Lord, as I stand up from this position today, and as I walk forward, I no longer want to have a yes, but I want to have just simply a yes. In fact, as I rise and I take a step home to go about and to continue on in your service, I want this step to be a step of yes, and my first step be a symbol of that. I just think that's a beautiful idea, just this idea of step of yes, and how that relates to the idea of redemption. He has redeemed us, and he asks us to continue to walk into that. And so how can our step be a step of yes? And so as you process this, as you continue to read this, just my challenge to you is, what is God asking of you? What has he asked you to respond? Over the past few months, we've had so many, an abundance of opportunities where God might have been speaking to you, whether it's in Advent or in our time of corporate fast or here in Lent or just on a Sunday morning. And if you felt like the Lord's been nudging you somewhere or asking you something or telling you something, and you've been responding with maybe a yes, but, think about that and see if he's asking you to let go of that and just be yes, and take that step of yes. He's redeemed us. He has redeemed us from the pit, and he has set us on a new trajectory. So if you have that new trajectory, you feel like he's been talking to you, you feel like God's asking something, just my challenge and my encouragement today is, let's step with that yes intentionally into what he has for us. Blessings.